And what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Globe Podcast. I'm Andrew Barry. I know that usually I drop my episodes on Thursday, but since the NFL draft was on a Thursday, I would thought that I would do it on Friday, so that it turns into more of a reaction rather than a prediction. Okay, so the first round, and that's mostly what we're going to talk about now. It pretty much went as expected, really. I mean, we could talk about Bovo from the New York teams. We could talk about pretty much all of the quarterbacks. I believe that there were 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks, which is really amazing, really. But there weren't really a whole lot of surprises there, really. But the biggest surprise, and Falcon fans, I think you know exactly what I'm talking about, is the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons stunning the world, stunning Kirk Cousins also, and especially his agent, going with Michael Penix Jr. Now, I'm watching this live, and when Roger Goodell gets up there and they say that they select Michael Penix Jr., I am shocked. Just absolutely stunned, and I think that most of the nation was also, because the Falcons, out of every single team in that first round, they definitely led with it the biggest shock of the night. Now, I can see both sides of the fences because I've definitely talked to a lot of Falcon fans today, and I would say that most of them are not happy and that they're angry. But I can see the other side of the fence also saying that they don't have a backup on a quarterback, and the fact that Kirk Cousins is 35 years old, and last year he tears his ACL in October, and he might not even be ready to start the season. So I could definitely see that. But the bottom line here is that we're really not going to know if this is going to be a good pick for the next few years. And the reason why I say that is, let's go back years ago when people thought that the Green Bay Packers were crazy going with Jordan Love, and Aaron Rodgers is going absolutely crazy. Oh, well, guess what? Now the Packers look like a genius because they were thinking about their future and they were thinking about life after Rodgers, and it worked out for them. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be the same thing, and I'm not going to say that Michael Penix Jr. is going to turn into Jordan Love by any means, but I keep on going back to the fact that we're not going to know if this is truly a good pick or not until we give it a few years. Now, I do like Michael Penix Jr. I saw him play at Washington. He did great and terrific things. You could even say that he was the best quarterback in college football from last season. But he's not a slam dunk, though. I mean, he has a cannon of a arm and can throw the ball far. But his accuracy is not the best, though. And let's not forget that he has a history of getting hurt. If we go back to him being a true freshman, he tore his ACL in 2018, and then the next year he dislocates his shoulder, and then he tears his ACL again in 2020, and then he separates his AC joint in his shoulder the year after that. Now, I do have to give him credit because he transfers to Washington, and he does play in every single game, and he seems to have shoved off the injuries for the most part. But, and this is not to throw shade at Michael Penix Jr., and this is not even to throw any shade to Bo Nix either. But there's a difference between playing football in the Big Ten at Indiana, going up against those other Big Ten teams, and then going to the Pac-12. Same thing with Bo Nix. There was a big difference for Bo Nix playing at Auburn, going against the SEC teams, and then going over to the Pac-12. And I don't think that that's just a coincidence in terms of the competition. But we're still not going to know the answers until they finally play, and we give it a few more years, okay? All right, now that's gonna do it for the first round. I'm gonna do to a few questions here, and I do a live here. I don't go back and edit my videos or anything. I do a live here. Okay, so the first question comes from Dan in New York. As a Jets fan, I'm very happy with the moves that they've made so far, but part of me still wishes they had drafted Brock Bowers. I could definitely see that from the standpoint of the Jet fans. I will say this, though. Before the offseason even started, the biggest, and probably the only problem that the Jets had was that offensive line. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he only plays 4 snaps, and then he gets hurt, and then the Jets season is basically down the tubes, okay? So the only thing that the Jets had to concentrate on was that offensive line. It was the only thing that they had to worry about. Now, I have been impressed by the Jets. They picked up Tyron Smith, and yes, he's 33 years old, and he has been hurt 2 of the past 4 years, and they did have to pay $20 million for him. But let's not forget that last year he was the number 1 pass blocker in the NFL. And then the Jets, during the draft, they pick up the tackle from Penn State, okay? And at Penn State, he only gave up 1 sack in 2 years, which is spectacular. So the Jets have had to do what they've had to do. They can work on that offensive line. They've done what they had to do. I can't bash the Jets on anything that they've done so far because that was their biggest thing that they had to address. Now, I like Brock Bowers a lot. I've seen him play at Georgia. I mean, he is a terrific, strong kid. I think that he's going to do terrific things with the Raiders. But you have Aaron Rodgers, okay? This could be his last great year because he has that offensive line around him, man. The Jets already have a really good team. They have a great defense. They have a terrific running back in Breece Hall. They have a terrific wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. I mean, the Jets are a terrific team. If Rodgers can stay healthy, if this terrific offensive line can protect him, which I have no doubt about, the Jets will be a terrific team and will win a terrific amount of games. The only question I have about the Jets is his coaching staff because I'm not too crazy about their head coach because he has an all-time losing record as a head coach, and it just seems that anytime that he does win, he likes to talk a little bit of smack, which is like a little bit of a red flag because you were talking smack for winning a game or two, which doesn't really mean anything because you're going to have a losing season in the first place. I mean, personally, I think that they should have fired him, but I don't think that they had a really big replacement for him. Okay, next question. This is Kelvin in Greensboro. With 3 teams from Canada in the NHL playoffs this year, do you think that it's finally time for one of those teams from our neighbor up north to lift Lord Stanley? Personally, I certainly hope so because, it's really hard to believe that the whole country of Canada, they have not won Lord Stanley since '93, and that was a very long time ago. I mean, if we go back to the teams that had a chance, like the Canucks in '94, we could talk about the Flames in 2004, which that goal crossed that line in Game 6, okay? The Flames should have won that game in Calgary and should have won the Stanley Cup. I think that that's absolutely fair. But unfortunately, at the time, they didn't have replay. We could even go to the Oilers in 2006. I mean, that stunned the hockey world, just came out of nowhere. Had a really good chance against the Hurricanes. I remember that season very, very well. We can talk about the Senators in 2007. We could talk about the Vancouver Canucks of 2011. They had a 3-2 series lead against Boston, but every single time they went into Boston, they got their doors just blown off. And it was just terrible. And then we can go to the Canadiens in 2021. Now, it was a COVID year. I understand that, but, it still happened. So, they've had, a lot of really bad luck of the past 3 decades, almost since I've been born, really. But, I mean, if you're asking who I think has the best chance to win it, I would still go with the Oilers because I like McDavid a lot. I like his second man, Leon, a lot, but the Oilers still need a really good goalie, and they still need to really work on that defense. I mean, they're basically paying like 3 or 4 players to basically be the whole team, and it's just really hard to win like that. But, hopefully they can work on that roster more, and they can get lucky a few more times in the draft, and then maybe they can clear out a little bit of salary cap room to pick up some good players. But I really do believe that the Oilers have the best chance to win, at least as far as the teams in Canada goes. And with that being said, we are all out of time, and I will talk to you guys very soon.